Parents of Reddit, what did you find in your kid's room that you put back and never discussed with them? In high school, my mom decided to clean my room as a nice gesture. She found my vibrator under my pillow. I got a text, guess you're too old for me to surprise with cleaning your room. I was around 14 and ordered a book online about sex back when they just sent you anything if you promised you were over 18 and would pay for it later. 1996 IIRC. This was no regular book, it was nearly 500 pages, a leather-bound holy grail of sex. My father or mother found it one day under my bed and I thought I would be in so much trouble, but they never said anything. A few weeks later, I go looking for it and under their bed, I find my book, a printed out copy of the Anarchist Cookbook, and a VHS of heavy metal. I took it all and nothing has even been said about it to this day. One of them found the VHS, and I am pretty sure it was my mom, thinking it was mine, due to the looks of disappointment shortly thereafter I was getting. My son is a very talented artist. While cleaning his room, we found a drawing that he'd done as sort of a 3-part comic strip. First panel, there was a pretty girl wearing bib overalls, the kind with the straps over the shoulder. Second panel, one of the strap buttons popped loose and the strap was flying back over her shoulder as the overalls started to fold down. Third panel, the girl, breast exposed, had a perfect look of surprised embarrassment on her face. The reason we didn't say anything was because he was a pretty shy 11-year-old and we didn't want him to stop drawing by embarrassing him. I regret not taking a picture of it though, because it was really impressive artwork for a kid. A pair of SpongeBob boxer shorts with the ass cheeks cut out to make them into a thong. When I was 10, my brother was 12. We were staying the weekend at our grandpa's house way out in the country. I found a cock ring in the bathroom and being 10 I obviously had no clue what it was, so I showed it to my brother. He told me what it was and we ran outside in the middle of the night and chucked it into the woods because we panicked. Thankfully Grandpa never asked about his missing cock ring. Was looking for my vibrator that mysteriously disappeared from my drawer. Looked in the teenager's room, not there. Went to my 5-year-old's room and there it was sitting on top of his dresser, in all its glory. I was too scared to ask anyone how my lightsaber got there, so just took it back and hid it in my room. Girlfriend had the neighborhood kids over to hang with her daughter. So one of the 5-year-old kids comes into the living room holding onto her dildo. They had wandered off into the bedroom and grabbed it out of the nightstand. Her telling, she calmly removed it from the child without incident, put it up and continued her conversation with her neighbor in the living room. Obviously they spoke about the incident later and apparently they both thought it was gross but funny. Toys are locked up now. Not the parent, but my sister found a stack of really hateful, bitter, "Why don't you love me?" letters her daughter had written to her absent father when she was 7 or 8. They were devastating. My sister never mentioned the letters, but she did sit her down and talk to her about stuff with her dad, and I think that helped. In my little sister's notebook I was just getting a piece of paper, saw a whole page of things like, "You're worthless, you're stupid, I hate you." She was talking about herself. I went straight to her though. She's doing much better these days now that she has a nice boyfriend, a job she likes, and no longer lives with our crazy alcoholic mother. I did something similar once. My family, except for my mother, made fun of me every time I had my period. It was absolute hell every month. They basically dismissed any opinions or emotions I expressed, so I tried to hide it from them as much as possible. When my mother went away on a trip for work, they would have known it was me throwing them in the trash, so I kept them in a plastic bag in my room instead. Anyways, your kid could feel self-conscious about throwing their feminine hygiene products out in the trash, or may just have not known how they were supposed to deal with it, assuming that the products were used by your kid and that they aren't just keeping someone else's products. We had to move our kid out of a bad living situation. She wasn't in any condition to help. So wife and I go in and just start grabbing her stuff. We come across her adult baby fetish gear. Like 2 duffel bags of it, giant onesies, Binkus, diapers, etc. Wife looked at me, I looked at her, we shut each bag and have never spoken of it again. My parents will never find the cum sock. Handgun with serial number filed off. Little shit must have took it from under my mattress. One day I decided to tackle the disaster that was my 9-year-old son's bedroom. It was impressive how much crap he had on his floor, and as a one-time 9-year-old boy myself I had to give him props. Then I found, tucked away in his bookshelf, a Ziploc bag filled with plastic sporks, an entire school year's worth from the cafeteria. There were hundreds of them, all packed into this gallon-sized bag. I stared at them for a long time, put them back where I found them and decided he should clean his own room more often. I must confess, I talked to him a couple weeks later, after finding one in his coat pocket. I told him it probably wasn't sanitary to have laying around. I let my gaze linger on him for an extra second and his expression changed. "Well, I guess I need a new hobby," he said. I bought him a rock collection starter kit the next day. I was laying peel and stick tiles in our bathroom, and found a couple of mild nudie mags hidden under the big package of TP. At about that time, youngest son came home and was a bit panicked, but never said anything at the time. I made sure to place the magazines back when I was done tiling. I showed them to my wife, and joked that I should have substituted Granny Gang Bangs, or similar. I still regret not doing it. When I was a kid, I stockpiled dozens of those mags under my basement couch over the course of a few years. I eventually forgot about them, until one day when my dad asked me to help him move the furniture in the basement. That was a bit awkward. When my late husband was 21, and we'd been dating for a year, he had an MRI for something concerning, and then went back to work, leaving his worried about his MRI mom from up north, who was just there for his medical stuff, in his apartment alone with nothing to do. So she cleaned. A lot. When he came home, his normally messy room was spotless. His bed was freshly made with the Bible he'd gotten at his church confirmation atop the pillow, and on top of that, a condom wrapper that must have made its way under the bed in our haste. In his closet, his once hidden Playboy cheerleaders VHS tape was now quite prominently displayed on a shelf. She never said a word to him about anything. She shot dagger eyes at me next time she saw me though. I'm the kid, but once my girlfriend accidentally left her undies under my bed. Every so often when I'm away for an amount of time, my mom will clean up my room and do some washing. When I got back one time, I found her undies washed with mine and left for me to put away in my room. She's never mentioned it to me. Oh Lord, you brought back a memory. It was 1989. My boyfriend and I were having sex in his bedroom. We heard the garage door open and got dressed as quickly as we could to do the mad dash to the family room and pretend we were watching TV. Only, I couldn't find my panties. So I'm commando in my jeans, and I told my boyfriend to look for them, and honestly we both kind of forgot about it. Until the fateful day that his mother had new mattresses and box springs delivered. She was in his room when the delivery guys took the old ones off the bed frame, and lo and behold, pink panties under the bed. That did not go over well. He had a lecture, and his dad took him aside after and gave him a box of condoms. I was already on the pill for cramps, fuck you, endometriosis, but he just took the condoms. It was a long time before I was able to go over there without his mom giving me the look. When I was 9-ish, my mom got me a light-up handheld back massager. I was obsessed with it. It looked like something space age and did wonders on my neck and back. My older teenage sister stole it from my room one day, and I noticed it on her nightstand. She wouldn't give it back, and I told my mom she stole it, but mom just said, just let her have it. 20 years later, and I finally understand. My grandma found a dildo I didn't like, brought it upstairs to show my mom and laughed, and then suggested she re-gift it to me in front of my whole family on Christmas morning. My grandma is savage AF, and I'm lucky to have a sliver of her humor. I'm the child in this story. I was about 10 or 11 and feeling really guilty for being a horrible person, silly kid stuff. I don't remember exactly what, maybe it was as simple as not saying I love you enough. I felt I had to atone somehow, so I started writing, I love you dad, love you mom, love you sister 1, love you sister 2, and did it over and over, almost like the lines you'd get as punishment in school. I did a full page and then completely forgot about them. My room was very messy and my parents didn't enforce me to clean it, silly of them. In my defense, I most likely have undiagnosed ADHD, but that's besides the point. What is the point is that it may have been months later or even years later, but I found that piece of paper again and I was cringing for having written it. But at the bottom in my dad's handwriting was one final line. We love you too. My friend's dad found her contraceptive pill and threw it away. She was pregnant within 6 months. My mom bought me condoms after I went to my first party. It was super awkward when she was telling me about them and where she put them in my room. To this day I am a virgin, so I guess it worked. Oh, as the parent I walked in, smiled and put the box of condoms in the dresser. He was shocked and probably hid them better later. Hopefully he'll find them again. My mom sent me to senior week with a giant multi-pack of condoms. I wasn't sleeping with anyone on the trip, so I just dumped them in the fruit bowl in our kitchen for everyone else. They were all gone by the end of the week. Not apparent, but I'm pretty sure my dad found my first bong and never mentioned it. One day it was just missing and I was so scared that I left it in an obvious spot after smoking and I'd get in trouble. It's been like 10 years since that and I'm still to this day curious what happened. Lol. My dad found my weed once, then after discovering it started pilfering little amounts whenever I would re-up all the way through my senior year until I moved out. Told me about it like 5 years later. 10 out of 10, will do if I ever find my kid's stash.
Yeah!